So, where did all the fun go? Well, it went away when you were so busy trying to impress everyone and not enjoy yourself. The fun went away when you were depending on people to make the fun for you with a third-party product in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. You know what? I'm from the 80s. You know what we did to have fun? We made it up ourselves. Because we didn't have a market serving us, taking care of us. We had to make everything on our own to have fun. The fun came from us, right? Everything was just a tool to help us create our own fun, not for us to depend on other people to make our fun for us. You know, back in the 80s, you had to make everything yourself, and you had to have a deep imagination or you couldn't enjoy anything. Nowadays, you have the images, you have all the toys. You don't really need to work your imagination that much. Most of it's done for you. It's just not much of an effort. You're not making anything yourself. You're depending on other people. Now, that might get you so far, but what happens when the third-party products start feeling shallow, empty, not fun? What do? You're not even used to making your own stuff. You haven't been through that. There's been no heat. There's a side of me that wants to see the market fail you. Not because I hate you. Because I want to see you put in a position where you feel the need to make your own stuff. For you to feel the need to actually finance innovators. People that are at the bottom that simply do not have the wealth to get into the system, but if they were to come in and they were financed, people invested in them, you grow the market so the bigger companies just don't own the whole thing. Even our fringe companies, only a few remain and most are burnt away. And then every year it's third-party products that they call games. Well, look, you know the hardest part about being a game designer, the hardest part? It's building the game from the ground up, testing it, checking out the science on it, doing that for years. I did it for 15 years with my Neo TTRPG System. But making that work, your own actual gaming system, make it work, that's the hardest part of game creation. A lot of people will say they're game designers now and they copy the hardest part and it was done by somebody else. They're copying and pasting that part and then just adding some host rules on, some details for a setting and telling you, here's a complete game and I am a game designer. Well, that's not really innovation. That's just them trying to get your money. It's a third-party product for whatever game that they're copying from. And that's it. That's not innovation. That's nothing like it. But you expect to see stuff like that in a hobby that doesn't support innovation. Why would the OSR and the clones come up the way they are? Why would they be considered game designers? Why would that all happen? Well, innovation is pretty much gone. The only way to come in as a supposed game designer is to be a third-party product, content creator, and come in and just say, look, I made my own game. The hardest part, I copied it. The easy part, I did it. And in some cases, with some people, they just copy history, so it's just more copy and paste, but you get what I'm saying. And it's I hear so many people out there just playing all kinds of third-party adventures, taking other people's ideas, their maps, and I'm like, look, convenience is great, but you want to know what the problem with convenience in the tabletop role-playing game hobby? It makes you lazy. And for us to have fun, it's some tedious work, even casual fun. So you sort of got to get out of the lazy zone to get the best out of what we do. But a lot of people in today's hobby in 2025, and in the tabletop role-playing game hobby now, are lazy. Lazy, AI makes everything for them. Now, I'm an innovator. I'll turn to AI art because I can't finance anything. Right? I just don't have the money to finance a professional artist or even someone on the low end, to be honest. Not for all the art I would need for a game. So I turn there. With no support for innovation, you sort of have to. And the customer base tells you why. They tell you they have a track record of now not purchasing games that are just done in text. So even if you make the greatest game ever, if it's only in text, you can't get in and you can't get enough investment to get the art to then upgrade. So that's an issue when you can't even start at a starting point because you don't have the money for an artist. You can't start at the part where you won't get criticized and get built up. It's weird to hear the customer base. Why using AI art? Well, customer base, I can't afford an artist. You have a track record. of funding, really 0%. A few you might buy some stuff, but you really don't give any funding to innovators that come through an honest way without, say, using AI art. You give no funding to them. They are not invested in. It's even the Kickstarters these guys try, they fail. The Kickstarters that succeed are all either third party or celebrity based, right? It's something backed by people you know. But an innovator is not going to be in that position. So they're always going to be coming in from the ground up, and they need to depend on the customer base for their support just to become part of the market to begin with, just to get the fucking name and get in there, right? It's required, but the customer base doesn't purchase games that are just in text on any level to fund a person like that. So what does the customer base say to us? There might be some that complain about the AI art, but people actually buy it. So some of the games that AI art sell, and you might not like that, but that's what the customer base tells us. It tells us it won't do the text thing. So if you can't afford an artist that won't do the text thing, you go to AI art. It is a tool. It's optional. You can use it on many places and sell your game. So people use it and they sell some of the game compared to they wouldn't have sold any if it was just in text. That's what the customer base tells us. That's the track record. So you follow the track record. And I would tell people in the hobby that really do not care about innovation. You're not growing the market. See, what happens when the fringe disappears and the bigger markets, the bigger companies own everything? At one point, AI art will become a regularly accepted thing, and the big companies will drop the artist and they will lose their jobs. I say to an artist, I can't put your dream in front of mine. But the customer base has the right to demand that when I'm in a better position, that I create jobs for artists. You know, it's like the economy, stupid, right? Look, here's how it works, just so you understand the free market and how it will work here. I want to explain it to you. Artist. I want the artist to hear this. Artists, you will lose jobs to the big companies. They will abandon you for the most part. They probably already have for the most part. And most of the smaller mom and pop businesses, which is, mom and pop businesses in our hobby, is like a person like me, right? It's most of them, most of them are gone. And very few are coming in through things like the OSR and whatnot to really offer you jobs. So the market is not really growing. And then you go to the people that would become part of the market, like an innovator like me, and you'll push back on me for using AI art. You'll crucify me for it and get other people to crucify me that support you in the process because they hear what you have to say. Like they just have no idea that the only thing I have to do is allow me to come into the market like this, allow me to grow, and then make a demand of me, which they should to any new person coming into the market. And in the free market, most of the jobs are with small businesses. And this can be very true because the small business is more controlled by opinions and pressure, right, to do the right things. So it's a lot easier if you're bringing people like me into the market and growing it that way to pressure me to make sure I'm doing something proper. Hey, when we finance you and you get the money, you're going to pay artists to do the art and create jobs for them. Yes, I am. And I'm going to come in and create those jobs when companies like Wizards of the Coast are saying, yeah, we don't need it anymore. But if you don't grow the market, at one point AI art will be accepted. We all know it's coming, right? We all know it's coming because we look at it right now. You do some cool shit with it, if we're being honest. And at one point, in the small amount of voices that are, really loyal to the artist, and I sort of get it's a well-meaning thing, but I got to tell the artist and I got to tell their supporters, I can't put your dream in front of mine. And the customer base will not support me if I don't use some form of art. So I have to use AI art, and you got to be reasonable with me so we can grow the market. Innovation is needed everywhere in the hobby, from the players to the game master to the game designer. Without it, our hobby dies. Like the OSR boost for the old school, you only get so far with that. Even the movie boost, only so far with that. Even the Stranger Things boost, you only get so far. With the small bit of innovation that we've allowed to squeeze into the hobby, we spend decades standing on the backs of those innovators. Not innovating anything, but standing on the backs. It's all the innovation from that small sort of time that makes all the products that you have now. Everything. It's without the innovation, you have nothing. Right? But it's now been decades since we had that level of innovation. Even amongst the player base and the game masters. I see a lot of tables where everything is third-party products. Nobody's making their own adventures, or they're just using AI. Yeah, it's still not making their own shit. And even the AI stuff is a little empty, right? It feels as empty as the stuff they're buying, because most of the stuff they're buying is AI generated, right? It's empty shit. And then look at the people they're hiring. They're not hiring talented people in a lot of these companies. It's people that are easily controlled or have a political bent. So you're not getting much from anyone, right? It's not happening. For you, the customer base, for the players, the game masters, for you to make this hobby fun again, it depends on you. The companies aren't going to save you. There's not a miracle coming, guys. There's no hero on the horizon. Right? And you got to see that there's a problem with the hobby. There's fractures that are unnecessary. Think about the 5e world. I come from the 80s, where the game was a lot of crap that you didn't like, and you ignored what you didn't like, and even the lore. There's a minority of old school guys that are married to the lore. Most guys weren't. They didn't care. They get a setting, even Greyhawk, and change most of it to their own fucking whatever suits them and whatever they want to run. That's the truth. And we just wouldn't care about the things we didn't like. We wouldn't have that be the reason we didn't game together. So I look at 5e, and it's weird to see a bunch of old school guys saying, I don't like 5e, but it has to do with the politics, because when you go to a stream and you listen long enough, you'll hear a lot of these guys that criticize the game for the politics go, yeah, the rules and mechanics aren't that bad. So I'm like, well, back in the 80s, that would mean you'd game together. Right? But now, not, because it's the topic of politics, and I got to tell the guys that keep insulting the new school kids that are on the other side. Most of them are not woke people. Most of them are nerds that look like normal people. They don't look like nerds from the 80s. So those tourists, a lot of them are just nerds like you, that you're calling tourists. And they're over in the 5e world, disconnected from you for no fucking good reason. And you got to understand that the far left, the political woke, represent 8% of the Western population. That means there's barely any of them. They're just well represented. You know how it is. The big companies put them as faces on things. But when you meet the majority of player base with 5e, it's normal guys and girls and nerds. And you're calling nerds tourists. And it's just such an unnecessary conflict. And it comes from depending on everybody but yourself. When you depend on yourself, you stop caring about things. And guess what? I purchased all kinds of products that overall I don't like, but I could use the product as a tool to make my own shit. Right? That's what we did back in the day. Like, okay, all right, you go buy the 5e, you don't like the propaganda and politics. Well, your protest isn't going to stop the company. Right? But how you make it ridiculous is, imagine the company turns around and just realizes all the effort they made has been nothing. That the customer base is just taking the game and saying, yeah, we'll just do whatever the fuck we want with it. And then when they see what we're doing, it fucks them. Even they give up, right? It's going to affect how they see things. But you never let that come between you. But you're going to if you depend on other people, right? That's all this is depending on other people for our fun and not realizing that it's what we make of it. That's the old, back in the 80s, you wouldn't get anything you want. It's what do you make of it? What do you make of it? You might not like that the thing is out there the way it is, but what do you make of it? Right? Can you turn that thing into something great? You can. You can. The spirit of fun is in you. And if you want it to come out, if you want to have fun at any time, you can have it. Doesn't matter what the fuck the market is serving you. You can have fun whenever you want to have fun. And if you're telling me right now you feel like you're not having fun because you're depending on all this other shit, stop depending on it. Right? Strip away what you don't like, and then add what you do. Add your own ideas, and go and have fun. That's it. Go back to that old school mentality where we don't depend on the market. It's like, yeah, it's there, it serves us to a degree, but we don't depend on it for our fun. We depend on ourselves. And that's the lifeblood of this hobby. And when that disappears, which it mostly has, with most people, this hobby is on a death spiral, where I don't think it will ever go away because the idea of it is too amazing. So the idea will keep it alive in a corner. But if we don't do something, all these boosts that we've been getting, they're just not going to let us live. And we're at the point where we stretched our innovation standing on the backs of innovators for too long. We need our own innovation to bring the hobby back to life. This hobby should have a successful, growing future. It's an amazing thing what we do here, and we got to show it off to the world, not let them see this pettiness, because that's not what this hobby was about, and that's not what grew the hobby back in the day. It wasn't the pettiness, it was overcoming all that shit and finding ways to make the game work for you. That's what kept everybody in the hobby. It helped us find our creativity. It grew people. It created developers. It made people amazing. It put people into the market. It did some amazing things. Notice how it's not really doing the same thing now unless it's some forced person into the hobby who is forced into a celebrity position for lots of really false reasons they shouldn't get the support. I mean, we had people that earned it, and that meant we had quality people for a long time, but that's gone now. We've erased that. And the most you can do is just tell people about it and hope as people clue into this that, you know, they're ready to listen. To me, I put out a video like this, not expecting to change a bunch of minds, but here's what it's for. Here's what this video is for. It's for the mind of the person who is ready to be open to what I'm saying. And I just want the video to exist so when you become open-minded and you finally are thinking in a more open way, my video is sitting here at any time in the future where you can click on it and go, yeah, he has a point. I do. I really do. The fun is not gone. The fun has always been here, my friend. All right, for now. I love you, at least most of you. Take care.